I'm kneeling beside the alien beast, its ribs heaving with shallow breaths, eyes glazed over with pain that mirrors the raw desperation I feel inside. My hands tremble uncontrollably, slick with the last drops of water I manage to scrape from the cracked reservoir. Come on, hold on, I whisper, fingers pressing gently against its pulsating chest, trying to will some strength back into it. Around us, the colonies. Alarms scream like banshees, the wails ripping through the thick metallic walls and shaking the very ground beneath my knees. If I fail, we all die. My heartbeat pounds louder than the chaos, a deafening drum in my ears. The beast's breaths grow more ragged, its massive frame racked with spasms. I glance up, catching a flicker of movement beyond. The shattered viewport flashes, all of red and orange flare, against the twilight sky, the encroaching shadows of our attackers closing in. I swallow hard, forcing my fingers to steady. You're going to make it. You have to. I'm Leora, born from the ashes of Earth's collapse. I carry its scars, not just on my skin, but etched into my bones and blood. Raised in the dim shadows of the last human outpost, I learned early that survival wasn't a right, it was a burden, a painful choice between what we save and what we leave behind. My hands carry the memory of, every life I couldn't save, every family torn apart by merciless fate. Compassion is my weapon, though sometimes it feels more like a curse. There are no close allies, left only echoes of the people I once called family, their voices haunting the quiet moments between alarms and gunfire. I don't know if I can save this creature, this strange, wounded beast, but I have to try, because if it dies here, so does whatever chance we have to survive. I glance down again. Its chest rises and falls unevenly, the deep wound along its side oozes dark ichor that seeps into the dusty floor. I press my palms against the injury, applying pressure, willing the bleeding to slow. Willing the bleeding to slow. The Aura, status report. The sharp voice of Commander Hask pulls me from the moment. I'm stabilizing the beast, I reply, voice strained. Ha! It's weak, but still breathing. Enemy forces breach the outer perimeter. We're holding for now, but they're advancing fast. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. How long? Minutes. Maybe less. My mind races. The colony's survival depends on this creature, on the bond it shares with us, on whatever secret it holds that might tip the scales. More than that, it's a living link to the unknown, to a world beyond our shattered home. I bite back a sob. And I don't have time. I reach into my satchel and pull out the med kit, hands shaking as I pry open the compartments. Bandages, antiseptics, biogel tools, designed for healing human wounds. But I hope they'll work on something so alien. The beast lets out a low, guttural groan as I begin cleaning the wound, the scent of its blood, mingling with the sterile smell of the gel. Easy now, I murmur, my voice softer than I feel. The beast's dark eyes flicker, and for a moment, I swear it, looks at me, not with fear, but understanding. A flash of memory crosses my mind. My mother's face, pale and tired, as she held me close during the last collapse of our old world. Compassion is your greatest strength, she told me. I was so, but don't let it break you. I swallow the lump in my throat. I can't afford to break. Not now. The ground trembles beneath me as explosions echo near. The colony's walls moan under the assault, sparks flying from damaged panels. I glance up once more, heart hammering. The beast's breathing slows. Oh! Eyes fluttering. Stay with me, I plead. Suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through my palm as the creature twitches violently. I recoil instinctively, but force myself to stay firm, wrapping the wound tightly. The beast's gaze locks with mine, the pain giving way to something else, fierce determination. We will survive, I say firmly. I promise. The calm crackles again. Leora, we need evac. You're the only one who can help that thing. If it dies, the entire colony's compromised. I swallow hard. I know. My fingers work faster now. hands steadier despite the chaos. I inject a dose of stimulant serum, hoping it will buy us time. The beast's chest rises a fraction higher, its eyes glaring just a bit. A surge of hope blossoms inside me, and then dread, because hope is fragile. And out here, under siege, it can shatter in an instant. I press my forehead against the beast's warm skin, feeling its faint pulse against my palm. You're not alone. The alarms wail louder. Footsteps thunder down the corridor. Time is running out. Ha! I stand, grabbing the creature's massive limb with the strength I didn't know I had. Hold on. We're getting out of here. The beast groans but doesn't resist. Together, we start moving toward the exit, every step a battle against my own exhaustion and the encroaching enemy. I am Leora, the healer, the survivor, and today I will fight for every breath this alien beast takes, because if I fail, we all die. I hear the frantic chatter crackling through the comm, warnings and orders flying like shrapnel in the chaos. Leora, you're overstepping protocol. That creature is a threat. Don't let your empathy blind you. Commander Hask's voice is sharp, laced with the harsh urgency of a man trying to hold a crumbling fortress together. But I can't stop now. All! Not when the line between enemy and ally blurs right before my eyes. The alien beast lies, collapsed just outside the outpost, its massive form sprawled against the scorched earth. Rumors spread like wildfire. Through the colony, an unknown entity, starved and dehydrated, spotted near the perimeter. The leaders brand it a predator, a harbinger of the enemy's advance. But something inside me screams that this is more than a symbol of annihilation. It might be our only chance. I tighten my grip on the water canister, my hands slick and trembling, the last ration from the colony's precious reserves. The metallic hiss of the seal breaking feels like a countdown. I whisper to myself, steadying my breath. This is for survival, for hope. Why do you keep insisting on this, Leora? Kellen's voice cuts through the tension as he steps into the makeshift medical bay. His eyes are sharp, skeptical. You know what they say? The creature's dangerous. We can't risk it. I meet his gaze, unflinching. Dangerous doesn't mean evil. It's dying, Kellen, just like us. If we don't help it now, it dies, and with it any chance of understanding what we're really up against. He runs a hand through his disheveled hair, frustration flashing across his features. We're fighting for scraps here, not fairy tales. I crouch beside the beast, holding the water canister to its cracked lips, watching as it laps greedily. Its breaths are shallow, but the rise and fall of its chest steadies with each drop. You're not alone, I murmur, voice hoarse but firm. We're all just trying to survive. The walls of the outpost tremble faintly beneath distant explosions. Time is bleeding away faster than I can count. The creature's eyes flicker open, dark and vast, reflecting a raw, primal intelligence that chills and comforts me simultaneously. I see fear there, but also a flicker of trust, a silent plea. Suddenly, the comm crackles. Again. Leora, abort mission. Command orders are clear. The thing is a threat to everything we've built. Pull back now. I swallow the rising panic. I can't, I reply quietly, my fingers tracing the creature's rough skin. Not yet. Kellen steps closer, lowering his voice. You're risking everything. They won't wait for you if this goes wrong. I look up at him. The weight of years pressing down. My past is etched with loss. I was a scientist once, before the world burned. Massed, I believed in progress, in reason. Now, I'm a healer patching wounds no one else can see. Hardened by necessity, yes, but driven by something else. A flicker of hope that kindness can steer this war away from total destruction. He studies me, a mixture of respect and disbelief in his eyes. You always were stubborn. I smile faintly, the edges of my resolve softening. It's what keeps me alive. The creature shifts, groaning low. Its massive head turns toward me, and I catch a glimpse of something almost human in its gaze, a fragile, desperate plea for mercy. My heart clenches. I press the water canister again, watching as its throat. Muscles contract weakly. We're running out of time, I say aloud, though it's more a promise than a statement. But I swear, I won't let you die alone. A sudden explosion rocks the compound, shaking dust from the ceiling. The alarms scream anew, a siren song of impending doom. Kellen grabs my arm, urgency, turning his expression grim. Liara, you've got to move. Command's sending reinforcements. But they can't hold them off forever. I meet his gaze, steeling myself. I'm not leaving. Not without this creature. He exhales sharply, releasing my arm. Then I'm coming with you. Together we haul the beast onto a makeshift stretcher, its immense weight testing. Every muscle in my arms. Each step is measured. Careful, this fragile alliance, balancing on a knife's edge. My mind races with memories, faces lost, promises broken, the endless struggle to protect what little remains of humanity. As we move through the dim corridors of the outpost, whispers of doubt and fear ripple among the crew. Some glance with suspicion, others with faint hope. I catch eyes with Mara, the medic, who nods once, a silent acknowledgement that sometimes the impossible is all we have left. We reach the outer gate. Car, the night air thick with tension and the acrid scent of burning metal. The creature's breaths grow steadier, but the danger closes in fast. Shadows of enemy drones flicker against the horizon, their cold lights scanning relentlessly. I lower my voice, speaking to I, the beast, as if it understands every word. We're going to find a way. Together. Kellen scans the perimeter, then back to me. You really think this thing can be an ally? I meet his gaze, unwavering. I don't know, but I have to believe it's worth the risk. If we don't try, we're already lost. Doe! A sudden burst of gunfire erupts nearby, the ground shaking beneath us. The creature twitches, pain flashing through its body. I tighten the straps binding it down, murmuring reassurances. The outpost's defenses are crumbling, but in this moment, I see something else. A fragile beacon of hope flickering in the darkness. Trust between two desperate beings, both fighting to survive a world that's forgotten mercy. As we push forward, the weight of my past presses heavy against my chest. Every loss, every failure, every moment I chose survival over surrender, it all leads to this impossible choice to protect what remains of humanity, even if it means trusting the monstrous unknown. The creature's eyes meet mine, once more steady and resolute. In that gaze I find the strength to keep fighting, because sometimes hope isn't a thing of certainty. It's a wild, reckless act of faith. And today I choose to believe. I'm crouched there, the last drops of water trembling in. My palm, the beast's cracked, tongue barely reaching out. My heart hammers so loud, I'm sure the entire colony can hear it, echoing the tumult inside me. Come on, just a little more, I whisper, breath hitching, with every drop that slicks past its lips. Then suddenly its eyes flare open, not with pain, but with a blinding, primal fury. I freeze, every muscle tensing, expecting the worst. The beast's guttural roar shatters the air, a sound so raw and wild it shakes the ground beneath my knees. My ears ring. The world narrows to the sound of that terrible cry. But then something I never dared imagine happens. Instead of lunging at me, the creature shifts, monstrous limbs arching in a protective shield around me, as if I'm the fragile one. Shock and disbelief flood through me, mingling with a fierce, wild hope. My breath comes out ragged. You're protecting me, I stammer, voice barely above a whisper, fear and wonder battling inside. The beast's dark eyes lock onto mine, fierce but calm, silent promise, a pact forged in the chaos. That moment, fragile and electric, ignites a spark of hope I thought I'd buried long ago, but it also paints a target on both of us. I can hear the distant hum of alien patrols closing in, and now the cold scanners picking up the tremor of a new power, shifting the tide. The colony's tension is a living thing wrapping round my throat like a vice. Whispers ripple through the corridors, rebellion, fear, judgment. Am I betraying my people by trusting this creature, or am I offering salvation in the form of an uncertain alliance? Leora! Kellen's voice cuts through the haze, sharp and urgent. He emerges from the shadows, weapon drawn, eyes wild with suspicion. Step away from it. Commands. Orders are clear. Neutralize. The threat? I shake my head, voice steady despite the storm inside. Kellen, it's not the enemy. It's protecting me. He narrows his eyes, lowering. Coo! His weapon just slightly. You're risking everything. This isn't just about you anymore. I know, my voice breaks, but the conviction is ironclad. But if we don't trust it, we're doomed. The colony's walls are crumbling, and the enemy doesn't wait for us to make up our minds. The beast shifts again, its massive limbs curling tighter around me. I feel its breath against my cheek, rough and worn. I dare to reach out, fingertips, brushing its cracked scales. I won't let you fall, I vow. Not here, not now. Kellen exhales, tension draining from his shoulders. Then we have to move. Alien patrols are closing in fast. If they find us here, his voice trails off, the unspoken truth hanging heavy between us. Together we lift the beast, its monstrous weight pressing down like the past I can't escape. Every step is a battle, not just against exhaustion and fear, but against the colony's judgment that waits in every shadowed corner. I can feel their eyes on me burning with suspicion and doubt predicting my failure. But I hold on to the fragile bond that's formed between us, a bond born out of desperation and a flicker of mutual trust. You're my shield, I whisper, voice shaking. And I'm yours. The alien patrols close in, their eerie lights slicing through the darkness. The ground trembles beneath our feet, echoes of war creeping ever nearer. I glance back once, catching a glimpse of the colony's crumbling walls, the faces of those who fear what I've chosen. Then forward, always forward, the creature's monstrous limbs flex, protective and fierce, each movement a promise to defend. And in that moment, despite the raging storm of fear and doubt, I find a sliver of hope, because sometimes survival demands we trust the wild unknown. Oh! And I, Leora, have chosen to believe. The sharp crack of gunfire cut through the thick smoke that now choked the outpost corridors. Leora, they're breaking. Through the outer defenses, Kellen's voice rang out. Oh! Brittle with panic but laced with determination. My pulse hammered in my ears, each beat a ruthless drum counting down the seconds before. Everything I'd fought for could collapse into ash. I tightened my grip on the beast's massive limb, its rough skin slick beneath my sweating palms, and forced myself to move faster. We were cornered. The enemy forces surged like a tide of relentless shadows. There, footsteps pounding against the metal floor, a storm closing in from every direction. I could hear the frantic cries of the comms orders, shouted desperate pleas for reinforcements, but the truth was clear. The outpost was buckling under the assault. I glanced at the beast's eyes, glowing faintly in the dim light, still wide with pain, but now flickering with a growing fierce light. Somehow, despite everything, it was fighting back. Hold on, I whispered, the words barely audible over the chaos. My hands moved instinctively, pressing down on torn flesh, drawing on every ounce of knowledge and instinct I had as a healer. My fingers glowed faintly with the alien bioluminescence that the creature's blood had awakened in me, the strange, impossible gift I'd discovered. The moment I touched it, I was healing wounds even as I fired my rifle, dual tasking, in a desperate dance with death itself. Leora, we need you back here, Commander Hask's voice barked through the calm. The enemy's pushing through. The inner perimeter, I gritted my teeth. Not until this creature is safe. I snapped back, my voice rough but resolute. If it falls, the colony falls. The beast growled low in its throat, a sound that vibrated through the floor and into my bones. It was tired, wounded, but it was alive, and right now that was all that mattered. Suddenly, a blinding explosion rocked the hallway ahead, showering us with sparks and debris. The enemy soldiers poured. Through the breach, weapons raised, their eyes wild with hatred and desperation. I fired blindly, breath ragged, heart pounding so hard I thought I might burst from my chest. Bullets tore through the air, some finding their mark in the enemy, others ricocheting dangerously close to me and the beast. Leora, they're inside the inner sanctum, Kellen shouted, grabbing my arm. We have to. Fall back now. I shook him off. Eyes locked on the beast's. The creature's gaze met. Mine, fierce yet vulnerable, a mirror to my own turmoil. I saw something raw and unyielding in those depths. Trust, hope, a silent plea that echoed every heartbeat in my chest. I was standing at a crossroads. Sacrifice the beast to save the colony. Let it fall beneath a hail of bullets, a broken symbol of my foolish compassion, or risk everything. Risk the colony, risk my life, risk losing control to prove that empathy could defy the relentless machinery of war. Leora, you have to decide. Kellen's voice cracked with urgency. If you don't pull back, and sir, we lose everything. But I couldn't. Not now. The memories flooded. Me, the faces of those I'd lost, the promises I made, the desperate hope I had, carried me this far. I swallowed the fear that, clawed in my throat and made the impossible choice. The impossible choice. Voice steady but laced with dread. Whoa! Kellen's eyes widened. Ah, what? No, but the beast's body began to convulse, muscles rippling beneath its scarred skin. A low, guttural growl transformed into a deafening roar, shaking the very walls around us. Its eyes burned with a feral light, and I could feel the raw power surging through. It uncontrolled, savage, terrifying. I pressed my palms against the creature's side, channeling every ounce of healing energy I possessed in a desperate attempt to hold the fury in check. But there was no turning back now. The battlefield erupted. Explosions tore through the corridors, fire blossoming on, rusted metal and cracked consoles. Enemy soldiers screamed. Caught in the wake of the unleashed beast's fury, it tore through them like a force of nature, limbs flailing, jaws snapping, an unstoppable storm of rage and strength. I fired my rifle, covering our rigor, every shot precise and deliberate despite the chaos. My hands glowed warmer now. See, chest healing the beast's wounds, even as it bled, even as it fought. I could feel the strain, the fragile thread holding me, to control snapping with. Every pulse of fury that surged through the creature. Kellen fought beside me, his weapon blazing, eyes wild but resolute. Leora, this is madness, he shouted over the noise. Ah! You're going to lose it. You're going to lose yourself. I don't care, I yelled back. Not when this is our last chance. The enemy's ranks faltered beneath the beast's relentless assault, but the cost was rising. With every strike, every surge of power, I felt the creature's rage threatening to consume us both. The bond we'd forged, fragile, beautiful, dangerous, was fraying under the weight of the violence. A soldier fired a grenade just feet away. The blast threw me off balance, knocking the wind from my lungs. The beast howled in pain and rage, its form shimmering with raw energy. I staggered to my feet, blood pounding in my ears. Control it, Leora! Kellen shouted, dragging me up. You're the only thing keeping it tethered. I closed my eyes, summoning every shard of strength, every flicker of compassion I had left. My hands burned as I reached out, trying to soothe the storm inside the beast's mind. The world blurred around me, the smoke, the fire, the screams. But in that moment, it was just me and the creature, locked in a desperate dance between fury and mercy. Then a sudden, sharp pain pierced my side. I stumbled, gasping as blood blossomed beneath my fingers. The enemy had found an opening, a sniper's bullet, slicing through the chaos to find me. No! Kellen's voice cracked as he rushed to my side, dragging me behind cover. You're hurt! I shook my head, forcing a grim smile. I'm fine. The beast, it needs me. Through the veil of pain, I met the creature's eyes, one last time before the enemy's. Forces regrouped, pressing in for a final assault. Its gaze was fierce, vulnerable, alive with a wild, untamable spirit. "We'll survive," I whispered, feeling the fragile thread of hope pulse between us. The outpost's walls trembled, the line between salvation and destruction razor thin amid the chaos, amid the swirling storm of war and despair. I chose to believe in compassion, in courage, and in the impossible alliance that might just save us all. The air around us vibrated with the relentless thrum of gunfire and the acrid smoke that choked the narrow corridors. "Ooh, Leora, they're breaking through the outer defenses." Kellen's voice cut through the chaos, edged with panic but resolute. His words hammered against my resolve, but I gripped the beast's massive limb tighter, determination setting fire to every nerve. We were trapped, cornered in the heart of the crumbling outpost. The enemy forces surged like a black tide, their unyielding footsteps pounding the metal floor, closing in from all sides. The frantic cries over. Comms, desperate commands, pleading for reinforcements. We swallowed by the roar of destruction. The truth was clear. Our sanctuary was fracturing. I glanced down at the creature beside me, its gargantuan eyes flickering, weakly but burning with a growing, fierce light. Despite the wounds, the exhaustion it was. Fighting with a fierce will that mirrored my own. "Hold on," I whispered, voice raw yet steady. My hands moved instinctively, pressing against torn flesh. A soft, bioluminescent glow radiated from my palms, and time, the strange power awakened within me by the alien blood. I was healing, even as bullets whistled past and explosions thundered nearby. This impossible dance with death was our only chance. "Leora, we need you back here," Commander Hask's voice barked through the calm, sharp and commanding. "The enemy's pushing through the inner perimeter." I grit, my teeth refusing to tear my gaze from the creature's agonized face. "Not until this creature is safe," I snapped. "If it falls, the colony falls." A low growl rumbled from the beast's throat, vibrating through the floor and into my bones. It was tired, bleeding, but alive enough to fight, and that was all that mattered now. Suddenly, a blinding explosion tore through the hallway ahead, showering us with sparks and debris. Enemy soldiers poured through the breach, wild-eyed and ruthless. I fired blindly, heart hammering as adrenaline sharpened my senses. Shots ricocheted dangerously close, but I stayed rooted beside the beast. "Leora, they're inside the inner sanctum," Kellen shouted, grabbing my arm. "We have to fall back now." I shook him off, eyes locked on the creature's fierce gaze. There was something raw and unyielding there. Trust, hope, a silent plea echoing every beat of my heart. I was standing at a crossroads. Sacrifice this creature, a symbol of my compassion, a fragile hope, or risk everything to protect it. "Leora, you have to decide." Kellen's voice cracked, urgency bleeding through. "If you don't pull back, we lose everything." My breath caught. Memories crashed through me. Faces lost, promises unkept, the endless fight for survival. Fear curled in my throat, but I swallowed it hard. "Hard! Unleash it," I said, voice steady yet heavy with dread. Kellen's eyes widened. "Ha ha ha! What? No!" But before he could protest, the beast convulsed violently. Muscles rippled beneath its scarred skin. A guttural growl swelled into a deafening roar that shook the walls. Its eyes blazed with feral light, raw power surging from every fiber. I pressed my hands against its side, channeling all my healing energy, struggling to hold the fury in check. There was no turning back now. The battlefield erupted. Flames blossomed on rusted metal. Explosions rocked the corridors. Enemy soldiers screamed, caught in the wake of the beast's unstoppable assault, tore through them like a storm unleashed, limbs flailing, jaws snapping. I fired behind us. every shot precise despite the chaos. My hands glowed warmer as I healed the beast's wounds, even while it bled and fought. The strain was immense, the fragile bonds stretched, thin by the savage fury. "Kellen!" I yelled over the chaos. "This is our last chance." He fought beside me, eyes wild but determined. "You're going to lose yourself." "I don't care," I screamed back. "Not when this is everything." A grenade exploded mere feet away, throwing me off balance. The beast howled in pain and rage, shimmering with raw energy, blood pounding in my ears. I staggered to my feet. "Ha ha! Control it, Leora. You're the only thing keeping it tethered," Kellen shouted, dragging me behind cover. I closed my eyes, summoning. Every shard of strength, every flicker of compassion left. My hands burned as I reached out, soothing the storm inside the beast's mind. The world blurred, smoke, fire, screams. But in that moment, there was only us locked in, a desperate dance between fury and mercy. Then a sharp pain pierced my side. I gasped as blood blossomed. Beneath my fingers, a sniper's bullet found me in the chaos. "No!" Kellen's voice cracked as he pulled me down. "Ah! You're hurt!" I shook my head, forcing a grim smile through the pain. "I'm fine. The beast, it needs me." Through the haze, I met its fierce, wild eyes one last time before the enemy, regrouped for a final assault, alive with spirit, untamable and raw. "We'll survive," I whispered, feeling hope pulse between us. The colony's walls trembled. The line between salvation and destruction razor thin. Amid the storm of war, I chose to believe. As the dust settled and the enemy retreated, a heavy silence fell over the battered outpost. The beast, once a symbol of fear and destruction, now lay curled protectively beside me, its primal instincts subdued, choosing to guard rather than kill. "Ah!" Its labored breaths mingled with mine in the smoky air, a fragile alliance forged in fire. Around us, the weary survivors emerged from shattered shelters, eyes wide, disbelief. They looked at me, not with suspicion, but with a cautious understanding, the unspoken acknowledgement of a bond born from shared struggle. Mara approached quietly, her voice soft. "You were right, Leora. Empathy, even toward monsters, can create family." I nodded, exhaustion deep in my bones, but hope flickering in my chest. We survived because we dared to believe in the impossible. Commander Hask stepped forward. His usual harsh demeanor softened. "Once this changes everything." I met his gaze, feeling the weight of responsibility settle like armor. "It's only the beginning." As dawn broke over the battered horizon, golden light spilled across the ruins, painting the scars of war. Ah! With promises of renewal, I sat beside the beast, watching the sun rise. A new day for the colony, for humanity, and for the wild, fragile hope we carried together. My mind raced doubt and hope. Intertwined was this bond, our salvation or our doom. But as I felt the beast's steady pulse beneath my hand, I chose to believe. Because sometimes survival demands we trust the wild unknown, and sometimes hope can light the darkest night. I am Leora, and our journey has only just begun.